Hello Energy Bus riders, Nikki Spears here. Welcome to the final stop on our Energy Bus Book Club. It's hard to believe that it's been 3 weeks and now we're on our 4th week, our final week of our Energy Bus Book Club. It's been an amazing ride. Today I want to review rules 1 through 8 with you. But before I do that, I want to take you back to the beginning of the story where we meet George. And we find that George, his life is in disarray. He's had this dark rain cloud hovering over him, not for just a few weeks or a few months, but for several years, until he meets Joy, the bus driver. And Joy is exactly as her name depicts. She's jovial, she has these big wide eyes, and she just brings a lot of joy to this energy bus. And she introduces George to 10 rules for the ride of his life. And we watch as George, his life, is transformed, I always say from George to Joy. And when it's in chapter 4 that is titled George Wakes Up. And this is when George practices rule number 1. You're the driver of your bus. This is what Joy has to say about being the driver. Always remember that you are the driver of your bus. It's the most important of the rules because if you don't take responsibility for your life and control of your bus, then you can't take it where you want to go. If you're not the driver, then you'll always be at the whim of everyone else's travel plans. So in chapter 4, titled George Wakes Up, George looks in the mirror and he says, you're the one with the failing marriage. You're the one who's about to get fired. You're the one living in a soap opera. When George takes 100% responsibility for everything that's happening in his life, now he's able to move his bus forward. And now we're introduced to rule number 2. Desire, vision, and focus. Move your bus in the right direction. And the key word here is focus. If we focus our energy on the things that we want to happen, the things that we desire, then we're intentional about the actions we need to take to make our dreams a reality. But when we worry and we're anxious, our energy is scattered in all kinds of directions. And so we're not focused. And more than likely, nothing happens that we want to take place. So desire, vision, and focus will move our bus in the right direction. Then we move into rule number 3. Fuel your ride with positive energy. We learn, and George learns, that his thoughts have energy. And so if he wants something different for his life, for his work, and for his home, he needs to think differently. And Joy introduces him to a formula. E plus P equals O. E stands for event. P is perception with a little bit of positive energy. And O is the outcome. And what George learns is that we may not be able to change the events in our lives, but we can change our perception, which could possibly change the outcome. Wow, how powerful is that? I sometimes say, what stories are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself positive stories that keep your bus moving? Or are you telling yourself those negative stories that can keep your bus stuck in the mud? So when you're thinking about fueling your ride with positive energy, think about things that you read, things that you listen to. All of those things help create a positive mindset. And then we're introduced to rule number 4. Invite people on your bus and share your vision for the road ahead. If you notice, we don't invite people on our bus until we're being the driver, until we have a vision, and until we're fueling our minds with positive energy. Why is that? It's because we can't invite people on our bus if it's dysfunctional. So it tells us that first we have to take care of ourselves before we take care of others. And so we have to be the driver, we have to have our vision, we have to fuel our minds with positive energy, and now we're ready to invite people on our bus and share our vision for the road ahead. A lot of times we don't share our vision. A lot of times we just ask people to get on our bus and they don't even know where the bus is going. We complain about negativity, but if you don't communicate where your bus is going, then people can't make informed decisions as to whether or not they're on the right bus. So always communicate to your passengers who you are, what your bus is about, and where you're going, so they can determine if they need to get off at the next stop. Now we move into principle or rule number 5. Don't waste your energy on those who don't get on your bus. How many of you are guilty of that? We waste our energy on the few people, those few people that don't want to get on our bus. And we leave behind and we don't focus our attention on the people who are on the bus and excited to be on our ride. Well, remember this, you get more of what you focus on. So choose to focus on that positive group and watch. Who knows, you may have some negative people who decided, hey, I want to be a part of that ride. It looks like a lot of fun. Then we move into principle or rule number 6. Post a sign that says no energy vampires allowed on your bus. Last week we met Amy's friend, the energy vampire, and I'm going to have to get one of those. And when you post that sign and you talk about no energy vampires allowed, you also have to talk about what are the expected behaviors on your ride. You need to talk about what they are, but you also need to model those behaviors, and you need to define what it looks like and what it doesn't look like. I've noticed that working in a school, and when we come together as a team, everybody has their own perceptions of what respect means, what professionalism means. So we need to talk about, if we want these things in our passengers, what does it look like? What doesn't it look like? So as you post your signs for no energy vampires allowed, also post a sign for what you want in your passengers that ride your bus. Now rule number 7. Enthusiasm attracts more passengers and energizes them for the ride ahead. So I talked last time about looking in the mirror and making sure you're not the energy vampire. That's right. You know that sometimes we can be the energy vampire. So it's good to check ourselves and make sure we're displaying the behaviors that we want to see in our organization. So when you go out and you're with your team, your enthusiasm is contagious, and your enthusiasm will attract more passengers to be on your bus. And we saw that with George. Once George started to fuel his ride with some positive energy, and he was focused on those people who were on his bus, and he wasn't giving attention to those few that weren't, those people became enthusiastic and they were excited about this campaign or this meeting that they had. And last but not least, rule number 8. We discussed, and Amy discussed last time, love your passengers. I love the part of love your passengers here where Joy talks about loving your passengers and becoming a love magnet. This is what she said. Enthusiasm is important, but love is the answer. To really, and I mean really, tap the power of your heart and lead with positive, contagious energy, you must love your passengers. You've got to become a love magnet. Say love magnet. That's right, a love magnet. And when we talk about love, some people think that it's all about, positive things, that there's no conflict. But when we love people, we tell them the truth, right? We sit them down and we talk about what's expected in our organization and what's not expected. What things that we're going to have and things that we're not going to have. So when we talk about love, we're also talking about, challenging your people to be the best that they can be. And so that's what this is all about. And this has been a fabulous ride. I've enjoyed you guys. And now I'm going to send it over to Amy and Julie, who will now talk about rules number 9 and 10, drive with purpose, and finally, have fun and enjoy the ride. I hope you guys have a wonderful time today. And more than that, I hope that you take these rules and you have the courage to apply them in your own lives. We look forward to hearing from you real soon. You're awesome. You're the best. You rock. Take care.